Welcome inside the Crosby Palace for an NVL boys basketball matchup between the Crosby Bulldogs and the Sacred Heart Hearts. I'm Tom Felice with Zach Turner at the controls for DET Sports Media as we bring you Waterbury boys basketball, and this is shaping up to be a good one. The game of the night in the state of Connecticut, Sacred Heart, #1 in the writers' poll with a record of 13-1. They are 12-0 in the NVL. Crosby comes into this game at 8-3, 8-2 in the NVL. Sacred Heart has won 8 straight games. Crosby has won 5 straight. Their last loss was when these teams met the first time at Sacred Heart on January 4th. On that day, Sacred Heart won 82-54. Nate Tabor was the leading scorer with 27 points, but the storyline tonight is that Nate Tabor is not playing. He is out due to a school discipline issue. So Sacred Heart will be short-handed compared to what they usually are, and Crosby coming in on their 5-game winning streak. They've won each of those games by at least 16 points. They've won their past 3 games by 48 points, including a 103-54 win over Ansonia last time out. And in that last game, they had an addition to the roster, Shaquille Barnaby, a transfer from Waterbury Career Academy, who has jumped into the lineup. He had 4 points in his first game, and he stands about 6'3", so we'll see what he is able to do tonight. We do have a pregame ceremony, as tonight was Pack the Palace, and Mike Davino organized it, and you see him explaining tonight's program.
Who's the football president, and everybody that's associated with the Crosby class of 1977 for putting this event on tonight. And Principal Dolby has a special presentation that she wants to make, so I'm going to turn it over to Mike for her. Thanks everybody for coming. Enjoy the game, have fun.
While we're waiting, I'd like to begin by thanking our alumni. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you to all Crosby Bulldogs. Welcome home. We're glad to have you back. We have a special presentation this evening for our coach, Nick Argelli. It's very difficult to keep a secret from Nick, but we tried our very best to do that. We're very happy to see so many years of the players coming back this evening for alumni night. Here it comes. And you have a very special presentation for our coach tonight. This award is being presented to our very own coach, Nick Argelli, Norwegian Special Award. This is being presented to Coach Nick Argelli, Crosby boys basketball, honoring 50 years. And the night that Coach Argelli was appointed the head basketball coach, a quote that he said in the newspaper, "I I'm anxious to see what I can do as a head coach. January 31st, 1979. Junior varsity and varsity 1969 to 2019 presented to Coach Nick Argelli. Thank you.
We also have a citation from the mayor's office that I'd like to read. City of Waterbury citation. Be it hereby known to all that the City of Waterbury hereby offers its sincerest thanks to Nicholas Argelli for appreciation of the knowledge and dedication that you have given as coach of Crosby High School boys basketball for the last 50 years. We recognize the numerous contributions and sacrifices you have made on behalf of all team members, faculty, and administration throughout your remarkable career. We wish you much joy, peace, and good health in the making of this milestone. Go Bulldogs, from Mayor Neil O'Leary.
Real quick, you didn't come to see me here tonight. I'm sorry you had to wait so long. I just want to thank everybody for your work and thank my coaching staff and the principal and the AD of Crosby. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, an award to Nick Argelli celebrating 50 years of coaching high school basketball, one of the most remarkable careers in Connecticut basketball history. Nick Argelli has spent 40 years as the varsity coach at Crosby. His record is 683 wins to 261 losses. He has the second most wins in state history.
On behalf of the Crosby Athletic Department, we welcome our guests to Center Line. We'd like to remind all spectators that the CIAC and NBL.
And so with that pregame ceremony, they will have a 3-minute warm-up period, considering everyone sat down for the ceremony. So they will take a little bit of time to let the athletes keep warming up. There's also a liquid spill in front of the Crosby bench. You see one of the referees right now scuffing his feet right in front of the Crosby bench, trying to make sure that the court is dry and ready for play. We'll go through some of the stars you should expect to see tonight, starting with Crosby. Kerwin Prince, the 6'5" senior forward, averages almost 25 points per game. He had 47 points in a game against Holy Cross a couple weeks ago here at home. He's joined in the backcourt by Tyler Spears. He was an all-NVL player last year. Spears averaging over 19 points per game this year. And expect some of the players like Ramel Reed and Marquise Days to really be called upon. They have more height. They're the forwards for this team, and they're going to be up against plenty of height when you look at Sacred Heart. We mentioned Nate Tabor out for today. Tabor is the leading scorer. He averages over 18.5 points a game, but there's plenty of people who can step in, actually, including Jamal Waters, who actually is the leading scorer. Waters is just under 20 points per game, about a point better than Tabor. So look for Waters and Omar Rowe, two of the seniors, along with Caleb Sampson, just a sophomore, and Connor Tierney, the sophomore, who's 6'11" or 7 foot, depending on who you ask. But in high school basketball, that's really a distinction without a difference. And we'll see how Crosby is able to deal with the height of Sacred Heart. Speaking of Tierney, he had 20 points on Wednesday night in the most recent Sacred Heart game when the Hearts took down Woodland 77-40. We heard all about Nick Argelli, the Crosby coach. The Sacred Heart coach is John Carroll. He's in his 14th season with the Hearts. He has a record of 251 wins and 88 losses. Sacred Heart has been in the state title game 5 straight years. They won 4 in a row before they lost to Notre Dame of Fairfield 65-60 in the Division I championship game last year at Mohegan Sun. And at this point, it's certainly looking like Sacred Heart could be heading back to Mohegan Sun. They're in Division I again this year. They're currently ranked 4th behind Bassick, Notre Dame of West Haven, and East Catholic. Those 3 teams all undefeated. Sacred Heart's 1 loss came to Our Savior Lutheran out of the Bronx. It was actually here at Crosby. They had a Connecticut versus New York day where they had a whole slew of games. We now pause for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Head back to their benches as we get ready for the starting lineups. Mentioned earlier that it's Pack the Palace night, and as you can see, they've done a pretty good job putting people in the seats. A lot of times for Crosby home games, the bleachers are not open behind the benches, but tonight they are open and rather full. Both sides have plenty of people in the seats. As the starting lineups get introduced, we'll go through them. First for Sacred Heart, we're going to start with 2 young guards. Lorenzo Washington, a sophomore who transferred in from New York. He's joined by Caleb Sampson. Connor Tierney, another sophomore, will stand center. He is a native of England. And then the seniors in the starting lineup, Jamal Waters and Omar Rowe, both of whom average in double digits. Waters leads the team, averaging 19.8 points per game. Sacred Heart has won 96 games against NVL competition. The most recent loss was on March 5th, 2014. It was against Crosby in the NVL tournament. Sacred Heart has beat Crosby the last 12 times they've met. The starting lineup coming out for Crosby, starting in the backcourt. Junior guard Justin Davis, averaging just below 15 points per game. He's joined by Tyler Spears. The senior averages over 19 points and 4 steals per game. Ramel Reed plays the 3, the 6'1" senior. Then you have Kerwin Prince, the 6'5" senior, averaging almost 25 points per game. And Shaq Barnaby in the starting lineup, his second game with the Bulldogs and his first start. He transferred from Waterbury Career Academy. A much hyped matchup, all set to get underway. Crosby had a slow start to the season. They were 3-3 through their first 6. but they've really turned it on over the past 5 games, and now they look ready to try to topple Sacred Heart, who does not lose often, especially to Connecticut teams. Home team Crosby in the white, Sacred Heart in the maroon. It'll be Prince and Waters to jump center as we get this big-time Waterbury matchup underway, and it's Crosby with Spears. Underneath, the pass through the hands of Prince, and now Sampson has it for Sacred Heart. Caleb Sampson all the way, banks it too strong. Rebound is tipped. Tierney can't hold on to it. Nobody can hold on to it. Finally, it's Prince. And Kerwin Prince able to slow things down. A hectic first 25 seconds. Here's Barnaby. Tyler Spears to the baseline. Finds Barnaby, elbow jumper. Off back rim and out. Rowe with the rebound for Sacred Heart. Long pass ahead for Tierney. Big matchup problem with Tierney. It's 6'11". See Barnaby trying to front him inside. Tierney to Rowe. Rowe into the paint. Omar Rowe lays it up, can't get it to go. Loose ball, still loose. And a good job by Washington to keep it in the forecourt. Waters blocked, but he took steps. The turnover, we'll give it to Crosby. Sacred Heart with a sloppy first minute, but no damage done as the game is scoreless. Hearts in a full court press. Davis with the ball. One of the best point guards in the conference, averages over 4 assists a game with almost 15 points per. Davis is rejected. Connor Tierney sends that one out of bounds. Davis tried an up and under move. He's giving up over a foot to Tierney. There's really nowhere for him to go. Spears for 3. Well short. Tierney with the rebound. Sampson leads the break. Caleb Sampson gets the bank, and Sampson has the game's first 2 points. They come a minute and a half in. Davis finds Reed. Ramel Reed puts Crosby on top for the first time with a 3-pointer. 3-2 Bulldogs. Almost 2 minutes gone by. Ball over the baseline goes to Crosby. Don't see this being as high scoring as it's been recently for Crosby. In the past 5 games, they've averaged 92 points per game. It's been a great offensive outburst after the loss to Sacred Heart on January 4th. Here's Prince. Prince spins in the lane, and a charge is called. Omar Rowe held his ground, and Prince is called for the foul. It's the game's first foul. We're 2:16 in to this NVL Brass Division matchup. Washington. Now Rowe. Cut off at the baseline. Washington with it again. Waters up top for 3. Off back iron. Spears skies for the rebound. Spears in the lane, goes Reed in the corner. Ramel Reed with 2 3-pointers. He has all 6 Crosby points, and the Bulldogs are ahead by 4. 3 minutes into this one. Washington picks up his dribble, finds Rowe. Rowe into the paint, up and under move. Doesn't get the roll. Waters there for the putback. First points of the day for Waters. Davis crosses the timeline, goes to Reed. Now Barnaby. Barnaby was practicing with the team all season, but had to sit out due to transfer rules. There's a big block there. And now a chance for Rowe, and he can't get the roll. Here's Waters. That won't fall. Pass tipped out of bounds by Tierney, and almost caused a lot of damage between a well-built referee, a 7-foot player, and a radio table. But everyone came out okay. Omar Rowe is limping up from behind the play. Spears finds Davis. High pass is tipped. That goes Sacred Heart's away. 6-4 Bulldogs, 4:13 to go in the first period. Jordan Santos checks in for Shaquille Barnaby. Now a much smaller lineup, and Crosby goes zone. Washington has it stripped away. Ball still loose on the deck. Got a jump ball. Arrow will keep it with Sacred Heart. Both teams having trouble keeping their hands on it in the early going. Washington keying the inbounds. Finds Sampson. Now Tierney. Sampson back with it. Tierney at the top of the key. Washington has it for the Hearts. Waters in the corner. Waters to Tierney, who lays it up and in. Tierney's first hoop of the game ties this one at 6. 3:30 to go in the first period. Spears. Now Reed. Reed has all 6 Crosby points. Spears to Prince, baseline jumper. Off back iron, Prince with his own rebound. Prince puts it up, good in the foul. Prince, who averages over 13 rebounds a game, got the board of his missed shot and will head to the free throw line. Foul was on Waters, his first and the team's first. Steve Alsif, a freshman guard, is checked in for Sacred Heart for the first time. Prince, a 78% free throw shooter, misses his chance there. 8-6 Crosby, 5 minutes in. Waters into traffic, including his own man. Waters gets his own rebound, and a foul called. Looks like this foul will be on the floor. Foul's on Jordan Santos, his first, and it was a shooting foul. So it puts Waters at the line for 2. Waters hits the first, the leading scorer for this team. He had 16 points when these teams met in early January. Waters hits both free throws. He has 4 points now, and the game is tied at 8. 2:50 remaining first quarter. Spears has trouble with it, tipped away. Connor Tierney with it now. He has it knocked away, and it's quickly up court to Davis. And Justin Davis scores for the first time today. 10-8 Crosby. And another tip pass. Active hands on defense from both sides. That time Tyler Spears sent it into the 4th row. Both teams playing very aggressive on defense, especially in the half court. Lob inside for Tierney. Can't hold on to it. Prince picks it up. Prince has not really had a chance to assert himself in the offense, but he's certainly the focus of the Sacred Heart defense. Davis. Now Prince. It's Waters guarding Prince. Prince with some room on the baseline, and Kerwin. Prince with a silky move to put Crosby up by 4. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Washington into the corner. Omar Rowe. Rowe lobs it for Tierney. Tierney, free throw line jumper's good. Tierney showing the 15-foot range. He has 4 points to 2-point Crosby lead. Long three off back iron. Santos tried that from deep and ended up bouncing onto the apparatus above the backboard. Out of bounds, it goes to Sacred Heart. Sampson back in as Tierney gets a rest. Waters throws it out to Washington. Rowe. Omar Rowe. And a blocking foul called on Ramel Reed. First foul on Reed, the third team foul. Alsef, the freshman, key in the baseline out of bounds. To Waters. Washington. Waters again. Nice move to the elbow. Waters can't hit the jumper. Alsef with the board. It's out of bounds. Last touch by Crosby. 1:06 remaining in the first quarter. Crosby up 12-10 as Shaq Barnaby checks back in with Santos going to the bench. Sampson to Washington. Washington drives the lane, goes up and under, high off glass, no good. Waters the offensive board. His shot is rejected. Another chance rejected, and Crosby comes away with it. And now a loose ball. Waters picks it up. Jamal Waters to the hole, puts it up with the left hand and in. 6 points for Waters, a tie game at 12. 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Reed in the first 6. Pass is tipped. Alsef comes away with it. Here's Omar Rowe. Rejected. Reed blocked the dunk attempt. Another chance along the baseline and a foul called as Barnaby bumped into Lorenzo Washington. Oh, that brought some life to the gym. Ramel Reed with a chase down block on Omar Rowe, who was going up for a dunk. Tierney back in for Sacred Heart. 15 seconds in the period. Sampson, tough pass for Waters. Waters in the paint. No good, ball being tipped. It's Spears with it. 5 seconds for Crosby. Spears at half court, takes a long three, and it's off the backboard. And the first quarter ends Crosby 12, Sacred Heart 12. Not the cleanest 8 minutes of basketball you'll ever see, but certainly very exciting for the filling house here in Waterbury. Tied at 12 as we start the second period. Jamal Waters with 6 points for Sacred Heart. Ramel Reed with 6 points for Crosby. One thing to watch, Crosby has committed 4 team fouls, just 1 team foul by Sacred Heart in the first 8 minutes. Crosby Bulldogs with the ball. Here's Davis. Prince in the corner. Prince has 4 points. Drives baseline, fadeaway over Waters, well short, Tierney grabs it. Waters the other way for Sacred Heart. Washington puts it up in traffic. Prince ripping the rebound off the glass. Prince into the corner for Spears. Tyler Spears, his first points. Crosby's hit 3 3-pointers. Sacred Heart has yet to sink one from downtown. Crosby on top, 15-12, 50 seconds gone by in the second quarter. Washington. Pump fake, shot rejected by Kerwin Prince. Spears into the lane is fouled. There were a lot of bodies in the lane. They get the foul on Tierney. That is his first and the team's second. And now Spears at the line for 2 shots. On the season, Spears is 18 of 29 from the stripe, 62%. First one good for Spears. Spears, a 6'1" senior, coming off a 23-point performance in the 49-point win over Ansonia. Spears misses the second free throw. It's chased down in the corner. Reed with it for Crosby. Quickly the other way, Omar Rowe. And his shot is rejected. Reed got a piece of him. And they'll call Reed for his second foul.
Crosby foul number 20, Ramel Reed. His second.
That was a strong take to the hole by Rowe and a strong block attempt by Reed. Rowe still a bit shaken up. But he'll step to the free throw line. Rowe yet to score in this one, and he changes that very quickly with his first free throw. Jonathan Rivera, the freshman guard, into the game for Crosby as Reed heads to the bench with 2 fouls. Second free throw good. Crosby is 4 of 4 from the stripe. As Rowe hit them both. 16-14, Crosby leading Sacred Heart. Minute and a half gone by in the second period. Rivera, now Prince. It's been Prince against Waters all game. Davis from the top of the key. Can't hit. Tierney with the rebound. Caleb Sampson called for a carry. And the turnover gives it back to Crosby. Easy enough inbound to Rivera. The freshman giving point guard duties, and it's quickly stripped away. Long pass for Rowe. He keeps it in. Waters underneath, and Jamal Waters ties the game with a 2-hand flush. Fourth tie of this ball game at 16-16. 5:50 to play in the first half. Spears has it knocked away. Sampson, his shot is rejected. A big block from Spears. Barnaby with the steal. Spears runs the other way. Spears to Barnaby, who can't hold on to it, and Spears backs it out. Reed now to Prince. It's the starting lineup back on court for Crosby. Prince is fouled on the floor. Foul's on Washington. That is his first, team's third. Davis. Spears from deep. Davis with the rebound. And a chance for three. Justin Davis got the rebound and put in the three-pointer. The long ball has been good to Crosby, but Washington quickly answers with his first hoop. Barnaby. Davis up top now, Prince. Prince loses it, Barnaby picks it up, back to Prince, Kerwin, Prince to the hoop. Doesn't get it to go, but he was hit. And Kerwin Prince will head to the line for 2 shots. Foul was on Sampson. That's his first, the team's fourth. And Prince steps to the line for 2. He missed his first attempt earlier today, and he makes this one. Alex Batista into the game. The junior replaces Shaq Barnaby. Crosby looks to have answers for the tall Tierney. Prince short on the second free throw. The lead now at 2. Crosby 20, Sacred Heart 18, 4:20 to go first half. Tierney can't hit, has it tipped away. And now Davis brings it across half court. Reed to the baseline, cut off. Reed. Spears in the corner, no. Loose ball. It's Sampson with it. Sampson's to Waters. His shot is rejected, but a foul called. Prince got a lot of the ball. See if they get Prince. They do get Prince for the foul. That's 2 now on Prince with about 4 minutes to go in the half. An interesting decision for Coach Nick Augelli on the Crosby bench, with his star player having 2 fouls. This is Waters to shoot 2. Misses the first. Andre Pierre checks in for Prince, so Prince heads to the bench. He has 5 points. Jamal Waters has done a good job locking Prince down. It's been the other members of the Bulldogs who have stepped up. Second free throw, good. And John Carroll calls a 30-second timeout on the Sacred Heart bench. The Hearts trail by 1, 20-19. 3:51 to go in the second quarter. Nick Augelli right in the middle of his huddle, giving instruction. John Carroll doing the same. John Carroll has to look up to most of his players, and Carroll wasn't a bad player in his day either. But when you have a 6'11" player like Tierney and players like Waters, there's plenty of height. Of course, Nate Tabor, the swingman who recently committed to play at St. John's in the Big East, suspended for this one. Sacred Heart short-handed, and they certainly have appeared a bit out of sorts, but some credit there goes to the way Crosby is playing. This has been a tight affair so far. Davis gets the inbound pass. Reed in the corner. Here's Spears. Throws it off the backboard, no. Loose ball, Tierney grabs it. And now Waters looks to go the other way. Jamal Waters dribbles it off his own foot. Here's Davis. Davis pulls it back out. And Sacred Heart did a good job getting back. Davis with a 3. Height doesn't matter on that one. Davis has 8 points to lead the way for Crosby. 4-point Bulldog lead, approaching 3 minutes to go in the first half. Pierre in a mismatch. Washington finds Tierney. Another jumper for Connor Tierney. It's his second jump shot from the 12 to 15-foot range. Brings Sacred Heart back within 2. Spears loses it. No touch. It'll go over to Sacred Heart. Kerwin Prince on the bench with 2 fouls. The leading scorer on the season for Crosby. Watching at the moment as Tierney grabs the pass to Waters. Waters with the pump fake. Well done by Waters. He now has 11 points and the game is tied at 23. 2:15 remaining first half. Reed uses the pump fake. Pierre can't hold on to the pass. And it's back to the Hearts. The offense is not running as efficiently without Prince on the floor, even though he only has 5 points for Crosby. Washington. Here's Waters up top. Sampson. Rowe for 3. No good. Strong rebound from Andre Pierre. Davis fouled. They'll get Caleb Sampson on the bump. That is his second foul. 5th on Sacred Heart. 1:43 remaining first half. As Sampson checks out, Elsif back in. 1:43 remaining in the half of a tie game. Davis. Tipped away. Washington with it. Lorenzo Washington uses the pump fake. And Sacred Heart has a lead for the first time since 2-0. And now Davis called for a violation. He was on the line. Turnover gives it to the Hearts. Rowe. In trouble finds Waters. And Jamal Waters called for a travel. The quality scoring chances have been few and far between on court tonight. And Ramel Reed just got called for a flagrant foul. He was tied up with Steve Alsif, and then Reed shoved Alsif off of him. And really is a textbook case of the referees seeing the end of the play, even though they might not catch the beginning. It's Tierney who will shoot the free throws. Tierney has 6 points, 2 of them on very good-looking jumpers as he makes the first free throw. It's now the largest lead of the game for Sacred Heart. They lead by 3 at 26-23. Minute 15 to go in the first half. And that foul was Reed's 3rd personal foul. And that's a big problem as he's played a strong role for Crosby in the first half. Turnover here as Alsif steps on the baseline. And the Bulldogs take over. So the intentional foul not doing too much damage, just the 1 point. but it was Reed's third foul. And he's on the bench, presumably for the rest of the half. There's Batista. Davis into the lane. Justin Davis has it knocked away. Last touch by Sacred Heart. It stays with Crosby. 45 seconds to go in the half. 3-point Sacred Heart lead. Batista. Up top for Barnaby. Barnaby picks up his dribble. He's in trouble. Davis to the rescue. Justin Davis. Barnaby again. Waters guarding Barnaby. Here's Pierre. Spears. Davis. 22 seconds in the half. Davis. Now Barnaby. Spears for three. That banks in. Tyler Spears with 7 points. Game tied at 26. 7 seconds in the half. Washington. And a foul called on the floor. A foul called, I should say. Did not get a signal if it's on the floor. It's on Andre Pierre. It's his first foul. And in fact, it is Washington heading to the line. First time Washington has attempted free throws today. There's 2.5 seconds left in the half. And Washington makes the first. Washington hits them both. He has 6 points. A half-court heave, not too far away, by Tyler Spears. The first half ends. Sacred Heart 28, Crosby 26. We'll be back for the second half from the Crosby Palace. Getting ready to start the second half at the Crosby Palace. Sacred Heart 28, Crosby 26, in what has been a tight NVL Brass Division matchup so far. Tom Felice here with you, and Zach Turner doing all the hard work, running the camera and the controls for us tonight. Sacred Heart up by 2. They were led by Jamal Waters with 11 points at halftime. Connor Tierney had 7. Lorenzo Washington had 6. Justin Davis led Crosby with 8 points. Tyler Spears had 7. Ramel Reed 6 and Kerwin Prince 5. They were the only 4 scorers for the Bulldogs. Crosby in the home white. Sacred Heart in the road maroon, getting ready for the second half start. When these teams met earlier in January, Sacred Heart won 82-54. They had a 26-8 lead after 1 quarter in that game and held on from there. This one a lot tighter without Nate Tabor on court for the Hearts. And Prince is able to pick it up. Prince sat out the final 4 or so minutes of the first half after picking up his second foul. He's Crosby's leading scorer on the season. Davis loses it. Here's Washington. Lorenzo Washington can't hit. Prince certainly affected that shot. Long pass up ahead for Spears. Spears through contact. And Spears heads to the free throw line. Foul goes on Jamal Waters. It is his second. First of the half for Sacred Heart as Spears steps to the line for 2. He's 1 of 2 today from the foul line. The free throw shooting has not been a Crosby strong point as they were 1 of 5 in the first half. That one no good. Rebound tipped. Tierney was the last to touch it, so it stays with Crosby.
Crosby ball.
.40 seconds gone by in the second half. Sacred Heart's lead now 1 point at 28-27. And a foul called as Lorenzo Washington got a piece of Davis's arm. Davis trying to convince the official he was in the act of shooting. The official not buying it. But 2 fouls for Sacred Heart in the first 45 seconds of the second half. That bodes well for Crosby heading to the free throw line later on. The officials talking to the players. They're guarding very tightly. Drop off for Barnaby. Prince drives to the hole. And Kerwin Prince is fouled. That foul is on Waters. That's 3 now on Waters, 2 in the second half. 3 team fouls for Sacred Heart, and we're still in the first minute of the second half. Spears. Now Prince up top. He can go at Waters with 3 fouls. Prince called for up and down. He lost possession of the ball, caught it again, and it was not touched by anybody else. Still just a minute gone by in the second half. Sacred Heart leading 28-27. Caleb Sampson. Shot is deflected. Waters loses it out of bounds, but Crosby touched it last. And it stays with the Hearts. Here's Waters. Tierney from the corner. Connor Tierney hits his 3rd jumper of the day. He has 9 points overall. It's 30-27 Sacred Heart. Barnaby can't hold on. Barnaby has his shot tipped. Prince is fouled, and if that's on Waters, that's 4. Indeed, the foul is on Jamal Waters. He has committed 3 fouls in a minute and a half to start the second half. And it puts Kerwin Prince at the line for 2 shots. Prince just 1 of 3 on the day. Washington coming out of the game limping with Alsef coming in. So Washington, it looks like he might have a calf cramp in his right calf. Washington heads to the bench. Prince doesn't get the roll. And now it's Trey Duncan who checks in for Waters with the 4 fouls. Prince hits the second. Prince has 6 points. Back to a 2-point game. 30-28. 6:20 to go in the third period. That pass is tipped, and Tierney eventually gets it. 2 of the Crosby players ran into each other, both trying to intercept the same pass. Tierney in the double digits with 11. And a good take to the rack by Tyler Spears. Brings Crosby back within 2. From the corner, well long, out of bounds, it goes back to Crosby. 2 minutes gone by, second half. The same margin as we had at halftime. 2-point Sacred Heart lead. Right now it's 32-30. Spears with that last hoop now into double digits. He has 10 points. Here's Davis. Davis into the paint. Shot is tipped. Prince there, his shot blocked. Tierney with another block. Sampson, way too strong. Tierney with the rebound and put back, no. Another chance, it's blocked from behind as Omar Rowe went up for the shot. Jordan Santos into the game. for Crosby. Lorenzo Washington in for Sacred Heart. Lob pass. Sampson comes down with it. Who's the foul on? It's on Sampson. They call Sampson for the elbow. That's 5 team fouls for Sacred Heart in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half. The third foul on Sampson. And the ball goes back to Crosby with a chance to tie. This game was tied 6 times in the first half. There were just 2 lead changes as Crosby led for most of the first 16 minutes. Spears leaves it for Davis. Long 3. Short. Prince there with a putback. And Prince ties the game at 32. A violation called against Lorenzo Washington. A backcourt violation. And the sloppiness continues really for both teams. A lot of it has been forced errors as opposed to unforced errors. Here's Spears with the fadeaway. No. Rowe skies the rebound. Omar Rowe finds Sampson, and Caleb Sampson has his first hoop of the second half. Sacred Heart lead 2 again at 34-32. Long 3 for Davis. Off back iron, loose ball. It's Alsif, throws it up for Washington, who falls down. Davis gets there, but he's called for a travel. He could have just let that one go out of bounds, as it looked like Washington is cramping again. Lorenzo Washington down on the court in some pain. The athletic trainer rushing over there. He came out of the game a few minutes ago with what appeared to be cramping. And now Washington limping off again. Inbounds pass underneath is tipped away. Another chance, Rowe. Now Tierney, he'll try a 3. Off front iron. And a foul called on the floor against Ramel Reed. That's 4 now on Reed. Or did they get somebody else for that one? They got Jordan Santos for it. That's his second. The first Crosby foul of the second half. Ball tipped away. Tyler Spears got a hand in there. Bulldogs with the ball again and a chance to tie or take the lead at the halfway point of the third quarter. Prince. And an offensive foul called. Or no, they got a defensive foul. It was Alsif and Santos tied up, and they get Steve Alsif of Sacred Heart for the foul. That's the 6th Hearts foul.
That's a 16 foul at Sacred Heart.
We're just 4 minutes into the second half. 34-32 Sacred Heart. Spears. Here's Prince. Prince into the paint. Kerwin, Prince with the right hand, too strong. Tierney had the rebound stripped away. Barnaby underneath, and it's through Prince's hands. Barnaby maybe going one extra pass there, and Sacred Heart comes away with it. I think Tierney thought he touched it last, but it's the Hearts with the ball. Prince with the steal. Kerwin, Prince the other way into the paint. Kerwin, Prince ties it with the lay-in. Prince now has 10 points tonight. The other way, no. A chance tipped around, and it's Spears down with it. Spears into the paint with the right hand. A beautiful layup from Tyler Spears 12 points for Spears. Crosby with their first lead of the second half at 36-34. 3:14 remaining, and some questions being asked here in the third quarter to the Sacred Heart Hearts, the #1 team in the state. They've won 96 games against conference foes. That streak dates back to 2014. But tonight, Crosby giving a shorthanded Sacred Heart all they can handle. Nate Tabor not playing for Sacred Heart, out of the game due to a school discipline issue. Lorenzo Washington has been cramping. He's still being stretched and receiving fluids on the sideline. And Jamal Waters has sat for the past 3 minutes with 4 personal fouls. Sacred Heart's depth being tested tonight. Sacred Heart knows with their reputation that they're going to get everybody's best effort. And it's certainly true tonight with the Palace packed. Sampson walks it up into a double team. He's in trouble. And we're going to have an officials conference. Timeout given to Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart now down to 2 timeouts. And that could play a role later on. 2 back-to-back timeouts by Sacred Heart with 3:04 remaining in the third quarter. Crosby leading 36-34. Sacred Heart has already committed 16 fouls in the second half. So Crosby shooting free throws the rest of the way. The free throws have not gone too well for Crosby in this one, but they'll happily take their chances at the line as they come through the remainder of this game. Right now, Crosby 4 of 9 at the stripe. And the inbounds pass goes to nobody. Miscommunication out of the timeout as Trey Duncan threw it away, and Crosby takes over. Spears with the ball for Crosby. The Bulldogs lead the first time in the second half. Pass was tipped out of bounds. It stays with the Bulldogs. And now Davis falls. Crosby tries to call timeout. They don't have possession. Prince fighting for it. Still loose on the deck. And we'll have a jump ball. It'll go to Crosby in the alternate possession. But Prince is not letting go of that one, and neither is the man on the bottom, it's Omar Rowe. And 2 experienced seniors in the conference fighting for possession. It stays with Crosby based on the arrow as Lorenzo Washington checks back in. Washington has left the game twice with cramping issues. So he'll be put to the test physically over the rest of this one. Reed with it. Ramel Reed. The foul will go on Alsif as Alsif tripped him. And it's the 1-and-1. I think Crosby trying to say that it was a shooting foul, but it will be the 1-1. Ramel Reed at the line, 4 of 7 on the season from the stripe. Ramel Reed, 6'1" senior. Reed well short. A lane violation called on Barnaby. He's been very quick into the lane all night. And now it's Sacred Heart ball. 2:40 to go, third quarter. Crosby leads 36-34. Washington with the floater. That bounces off the rim. Spears has the rebound. Now Prince. Prince spins on Tierney, loses it. Washington the other way. Washington gets it to go. Washington with 8 points. The game tied at 36. Davis unsuccessful as Sampson grabs the rebound. 2 minutes remaining in the third. Here's Sampson. Caleb Sampson for 2. 6 points now for the sophomore. Timeout Crosby. 30-second timeout called by Coach Nick Augelli, as Sacred Heart has scored 4 straight to go back on top. Crosby has won their last 3 games by an average of 48 points. Right now, they might not score much more than 48 points. It's 38-36 Sacred Heart with 1:53 to go in the third period. Not what people generally think of when they think of Waterbury basketball. But it's been a very compelling game in front of a very strong Crosby crowd. Big question for John Carroll, the Sacred Heart coach, is how long do you leave Jamal Waters on the bench? He picked up his 4th foul with 6:28 to go here in the third quarter. 3 fouls in the first minute and a half of the second half. Davis. Davis with some room, and Justin Davis into double digits. He has 10 points. The game tied at 38. 10 ties now in this one. Tierney from the baseline, no. Prince can't hold on to it. It stays with Sacred Heart. 1:25 to go in the third. That's lost out of bounds. Washington couldn't hold on to it. Never a good sign when you can't hold on to it and the ball falls under the shoes of your head coach, as John Carroll was standing right there. There's some debris on the court. That situation is quickly taken care of. And now Prince looks to bring it up for Crosby. Here's Davis. Davis to the hoop. And Tierney got a piece of him. Second foul on Connor Tierney. Puts Davis at the line for the first time today. Davis does not get to the free throw line too often. There's 7 of 9 on the season from the stripe. Crosby 4 of 10 on free throws tonight. And the first one falls off for Davis. One more coming for the 5'10 junior. Davis hits the second. Crosby back on top, 39-38, a minute to go in the third quarter. And a foul called. Foul was on Prince. His third, the team's second in the second half. Crosby has been very well disciplined defensively. Shaq Barnaby checks in. Prince going to the bench. A chance for him to get some rest and stay out of foul trouble with 58 seconds to play in the third quarter. Loose ball on the inbound. Crosby gets a timeout as Reed fell on the ball.
Crosby. 30 seconds, timeout.
Crosby has 3 timeouts remaining. Sacred Heart just 2. The Bulldogs lead 39-38. 55 seconds to play in the third, and Kerwin Prince, you just saw, tap the scores table, so he's going to come back in. They'll want him on the court for his offense after this timeout.
Please have your tickets ready for the 50-50 drawing. At the end of the third period. Thank you.
Washington, Alsif, Rowe, Sampson, Tierney, the Sacred Heart 5. Prince, Reed, Davis, Spears, Barnaby. Crosby's 5. They were the starting 5 as well. Spears in trouble, and he calls timeout. That is not what Nick Augelli wanted to see. This will be a full timeout. Both teams now down to 2 timeouts before we're in the fourth quarter. Three lead changes here in the third quarter. There were only 2 in the first half. There have also been 4 ties after 6 in the first half. This has been a back and forth game all the way. Crosby had a 4-point lead at 12-8 and at 23-19. It's really never gotten away from either team. Sacred Heart led 32-28 early in the second half, and that's it. So the largest lead today has been 4 points. Each team has had a 4-point lead. Right now it's a 1-point Crosby lead, 29-28, 55.7 to play in the third. Tyler Spears tasked with inbounding the ball. He was unable to before calling that timeout. Omar Rowe playing defense on him. And the ball in to Justin Davis. Now Spears circles back to grab it. Spears with a jumper, in and out. Sampson the rebound for Sacred Heart. Omar Rowe. Rowe with just 2 points on the day. Tierney pulls the jumper, well short, loose ball. Davis gets a piece of it. The jump ball keeps it with Sacred Heart. 25.5 seconds to play in the third quarter. Crosby leading by 1. Barnaby checks in. It's Prince coming out. Alex Batista thought he was headed to the bench. Once again, they don't want Prince to pick up a cheap 4th foul in the third quarter. Rowe. Tierney. Rowe again. Sampson into the paint. Floater off back rim. Barnaby gets a piece of it. Still a loose ball. 8 seconds for Crosby. Spears. Washington takes it away from him. Washington strong off the glass. It's tipped. A whistle went before the horn. What are we going to have? The officials huddling. The cheerleaders quickly on the court. The officials trying to figure out, was there a foul before the horn went? It appeared that the official called a foul on Connor Tierney, and he is signaling a foul on Tierney. That's his third, the team's ninth. We'll see how much time is put on the clock. Well, there's the 8 minutes. That's not what they were trying to do. It would be around 2 seconds. And of course, with Crosby in the bonus, they'll be shooting free throws. And you know what? They're going to say no time on the clock but free throws. I'm not sure you can do that. It's Reed at the line for a 1-and-1. There's no time on the clock. That seems odd. Yeah, the official's saying there has to be time on the clock. I think the scorer's saying he has it on his console. It's not going to show up on the scoreboard. It might show up when the clock starts. Reed missed the front end of a 1-and-1 earlier. Has another chance here. No good. Tierney with the rebound. And the horn goes. On to the fourth period. Crosby 39, Sacred Heart 38. Should be an exciting final 8 minutes.
Attention girls, the 50-50 drawing, tonight's winning ticket number, 885193. Tonight's 50-50 drawing, 885193. If you have a winning ticket, please report to the front. Again, 885193. Thank you for everybody. You participate.
Teams back on court, ready to start the fourth quarter. Crosby 39, Sacred Heart 38. Tom Felice here at the Crosby Palace. Zach Turner running the show for us and DET Sports Media. The Bulldogs in white have the ball to start the fourth period. Jamal Waters is on the court. He has 4 fouls. He's guarding Kerwin Prince. Prince to Spears. Spears with the jumper. That's pure. Spears now has 14 points to lead all scorers. 3-point lead for Crosby. 41-38. Lorenzo Washington appears to have recovered well from his cramping issues earlier in the game. Omar Rowe. Washington up top. Leaves it for Tierney for 3. Connor Tierney with the 3. Tierney has 14 points to lead the way for Sacred Heart. The game is tied. Prince to Spears. Now Davis. He's quickly double teamed. He throws it off a Sacred Heart leg. And Crosby holds on to it. 1 minute and 2 seconds gone by in the fourth period. 41-41. Tough spot for an inbounds. It's Barnaby with it now for Crosby. Reed. Justin Davis. Davis uses a screen. Davis through contact, and they call it jump ball. It goes to Sacred Heart.
Jump ball, possession, Sacred Heart.
John Carroll, the Sacred Heart coach, is laughing in surprise. It's not nearly as happy an emotion on the Crosby bench. Washington leaves it for Tierney in the corner. Another Connor Tierney jumper. 16 points for Tierney. And a 3-ball from Tyler Spears. Crosby back on top. 2 quick lead changes. Rowe in the corner. Tierney, who's shown off his silky jump shot tonight. Tierney has 16 points to lead all scorers as Washington can't get his runner to fall. I should check that. Spears has 17 as Barnaby is rejected. Barnaby has not shown a willingness to take it to the hoop, and he has yet to score tonight. In fact, just 4 players have scored for the Bulldogs. Spears with 17, Davis with 11, Prince with 10, and Reed with 6. Here's Prince into the lane. Leaves it for Davis. 5:45 to go. Davis with a 3. Off back iron. Barnaby skied for the rebound, but it was Rowe able to grab it. Tipped away. Spears for Prince. He'll go back to collect it. Prince turns on Waters, and eventually it's out of bounds over to Sacred Heart. Kerwin Prince visibly upset that he is unable to hold on, especially when he's going against Waters, who has 4 fouls. Here is Jamal Waters for Sacred Heart. Caleb Sampson now. Tierney in the corner, driving. His pass is tipped by Barnaby. Waters ends up with it, and Waters puts it in. His first points of the second half. He has 13. Sacred Heart's on top, 45-44. Ramel Reed with the left hand. Reed now has 8. And a foul at the other end. That's on Reed. That's the 4th personal foul on Reed. Shaq Barnaby is on the floor behind the play. Barnaby appears to be cramping as the trainer goes to stretch him out. John Carroll was yelling for an intentional foul. Nick Augelli seemed to be upset that one of his players was down behind the play. But everyone will get a chance to breathe right now with 4:45 to go in regulation. Crosby leads 46-45. The last 4 buckets have all resulted in lead changes. There have now been 10 total lead changes in this one. Jonathan Rivera is into the game. Looks like he's in for Barnaby. That's the injury sub. Have to think they'll sub Reed after the first free throw, because he has 4 fouls now. Since that was just the 3rd Crosby team foul, this will be an inbound from the baseline. I think a lot of people in the gym thought it would be a shooting foul. Tierney. Washington has it tipped away. Gets it back. Lorenzo Washington through traffic puts it up. They'll call the foul on the floor. Oh, maybe. The official's going to talk this one over. This has not been an easy game to officiate. Obviously a rivalry game. 2 skilled teams playing a very hectic game tonight. So they count the basket. The foul is on Prince. That is his 4th foul. So Prince has 4, Reed has 4 for Crosby. Waters has 4 for Sacred Heart. Washington in double digits with the hoop. And now 1 free throw coming here. Washington can't hit. The rebound, loose. Waters with it. And now Washington. Waters in the corner against a double team. Washington. Tierney up top. 47-46 Hearts, 4:20 remaining. Tierney in the corner for three. In and out. Waters the offensive board. Jamal Waters goes up through traffic and scores. 49-46. Reed in the corner for the tie. Short, and Tierney grabs the board. Washington to Sampson. Baseline jumper, Caleb Sampson. And just like that, it's a 5-point lead. That's the largest lead of the game. Prince rejected. It'll stay with Crosby, but the Hearts faithful making noise as Tierney sent that one out of bounds. 3:40 remaining. Sacred Heart ahead 51-46. Spears with the floater, well short. Prince there for the putback. Kerwin Prince has 12 on the night. Three and a half to play. Sacred Heart ahead by 3. Rowe at the free throw line. The jumper off back iron, loose ball. Prince and Waters battling for it. Waters wins it and gets it to Rowe. Sacred Heart lead back to 5 as we hit the 3-minute mark. Spears. Davis up top, a long three. It's good! Justin Davis from way downtown makes it a 2-point game. Davis now with 14 points. He's hit 3 threes tonight. Waters, Tierney, Sampson for an answer, no. For the putback, Omar Rowe. Spears was fouled. Prince had a good chance to bring it to the hoop. Instead, it's Caleb Sampson called for his 4th foul. 4 fouls on Sampson, 4 on Waters for Sacred Heart. Prince and Reed have 4 fouls for Crosby. Both teams have 2 timeouts left. Just 4 team fouls for Crosby in the second half. Sacred Heart's committed 10, so it's 2 shots the rest of the way for the Crosby Bulldogs. They're 5 of 13 tonight from the stripe. Here's Spears. And he hits the first. Spears now 3 of 5 at the line this evening. Spears hits them both. A 2-point game once again. 55-53 Sacred Heart. 2:20 remaining. Lob pass finds Omar Rowe. He's in trouble, gets it to Waters. Waters puts it up and in. Waters has 6 here in the 4th, 17 on the night. Prince finds Davis. His 3 is rejected. Tierney's able to save it, and Sacred Heart takes over under 2 minutes to go. The Heart's up 4. Washington fouled. Foul is on Spears. Somehow that's his first foul of the night. Just the 15th foul, so it's Sacred Heart possession with 1:51 to go. The game is picked up. Sacred Heart with 19 points already in the 4th quarter. Inbounds pass to Waters, right back to Washington. Tierney underneath, he can't hit. And it's Spears who grabs it for Crosby. Spears, the pass is tipped. Jonathan Rivera grabs it. And now it's Ramel Reed. Reed into the paint with a Euro step, too strong on the runner. With 1.5 minutes to play, Sacred Heart has the ball in a 4-point lead. Sampson. Washington. Tierney for three. It's good. Connor Tierney has 19 points, and Crosby trails by 7, 60-53 with 1:10 to go. It's the largest lead of the game. Connor Tierney, coming into his own in late January, had 20 points in the win over Woodland last time out for Sacred Heart, and he has 19 points tonight, including 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, as Sacred Heart has stretched the lead to 7 at 60-53. It's a 15-7 run that's put Sacred Heart on top and looking like they'll be keeping their number 1 spot in the polls. But there's still a minute 10 to play, and Crosby will have the ball out of the timeout. Shaq Barnaby has not returned after he went out for a cramp, what appeared to be a cramp. It's Reed who brings it up. Here's Prince. Kerwin Prince drives baseline. Prince with an easy 2. Timeout Crosby with 1:01 to go. It's now a 5-point Sacred Heart lead. Prince has 14 points. He had a light first half, only 5 in the first half for Prince, but he's turned it on with 5 in the third quarter and 4 more here in the fourth. You see in the Sacred Heart huddle, Omar Rowe looking like he's stretching out his right hip. It has been a war of attrition tonight. Lorenzo Washington battled cramps. Shaq Barnaby appeared to battle cramps. A shorthanded Sacred Heart without Nate Tabor has been stretched to the limit. Connor Tierney's really stepped up. He has 19 points. Waters, the leading scorer on the season, has 17 tonight. Crosby needs to find a stop. And even if they foul, it'll not be free throws on this foul. It'll have to be another foul before Crosby's in the penalty. Washington keying the inbound, and it's taken away. Spears hits. And a steal. Tyler Spears is fouled. What a turn of events with Tyler Spears. 2 steals. And he'll head to the line with a chance to cut the lead to 1. The foul was the 4th on Tierney. Spears with 21 points on the night, misses the first. He's now 4 of 7 from the line tonight. One more chance coming with 52.6 seconds to go. Spears hits the second. It's a 2-point game. Jose Suarez into the game. His first time on court tonight. Quite a time to make your daily debut. Washington looking inbounds, and he throws it in. Waters able to catch up to it. Waters, Tierney with a behind the back pass. It's loose on the floor. Timeout Sacred Heart. Timeout Sacred Heart. That was a encapsulation of the entire night. Players from both teams getting their hands on it. Players diving on the floor. And Sacred Heart able to call timeout. .3 to go. Sacred Heart up by 2, and they will have the ball. It was almost another steal for Crosby. Crosby with 2 steals in the final minute already. A quick 5 points by Crosby. They were trailing by 7 with just over a minute to go. Tyler Spears had 2 steals that led to hoops and a free throw. I should say it was a Prince bucket, a Spears bucket, and the Spears free throw to cut the Sacred Heart lead to 2. It's 60-58, 44.3 seconds remaining. The next Crosby foul will not result in free throws for Sacred Heart. Crosby's only committed 5 fouls in the second half. Sampson looks to get it in. Lobs it for Jamal Waters. Deep pass to Washington. Waters to the hoop. Doesn't get it to go, but Rowe is there for the putback. 30 seconds to go. Sacred Heart leads by 4. And a travel called on Tyler Spears. He picked up his dribble looking to shoot, then didn't shoot. The turnover gives it to Sacred Heart with a 4-point lead and 23.5 seconds to go. The official taking a moment as some fans went to exit the gym along the Sacred Heart bench. Sacred Heart inbounding, so Crosby has to give 2 fouls here to result in free throws. Sacred Heart's been good from the line tonight. Waters picks it up. Crosby's bench calling for the foul, and there it is. Suarez commits the foul. His first, but it's just the team's 6th, so Crosby has to give another foul to result in free throws. Prince and Reed both have 4, so you don't want them committing the foul if you can avoid it for Crosby. Of course, they've been very good inbound, defending the inbounds plays as well. A foul was called off the ball here. It's on Justin Davis, his first personal, and it results in free throws. Sacred Heart 8 of 11 at the stripe tonight. Omar Rowe is 2 of 2. He'll be there for the 1-and-1. John Carroll pleading his case. It should be an intentional foul. He'd be saying the ball wasn't in bounds yet. But it's the 1-and-1 for Rowe. He hits the first. .3 seconds to go. The Sacred Heart lead currently 5, now 6. As Rowe hits both free throws. Spears into the corner, Reed for 3. That's short. Waters with the rebound. And Crosby's going to step back and let Sacred Heart celebrate their 97th straight win over NVL opponents with a 64-58 Sacred Heart win over Crosby. The Bulldogs made Sacred Heart earn it. Sacred Heart short-handed with Nate Tabor out due to a school discipline issue, able to come through and knock off Crosby at the Crosby Palace. The Hearts moved to 14-1 a perfect 13-0 in the NVL. Crosby drops to 8-4. Their 5-game winning streak is snapped. Connor Tierney had 19 points for Sacred Heart. Jamal Waters, 17. Tyler Spears led the way for Crosby. He had 22. Kerwin Prince added 14 for the Bulldogs. That will do it. Sacred Heart, with a come-from-behind win, knocks off Crosby 64-58. For Zach Turner and all of DET Sports Media, I'm Tom Felice. Thank you so much for being with us.